Hey, good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Jessica Blum here to look at the risk for severe weather Monday evening into the overnight hours. This is for June 16th, 2025 into the morning of June 17th. And you're looking at the latest information. The Storm Prediction Center just updated this map as of just a little bit before 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm filming this as of 8:30 this morning, trying to get out the latest information so we can all prepare for this evening and into the overnight hours. But there is now an enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk over portions of western and central Nebraska. It extends as far back west as about Alliance into Sioux County, and now North Platte's included in this, almost toward McCook, but including Kearney, toward Albion and St. Paul, up toward almost O'Neill. All of that is the enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk, which if I bring back this, and you can look at the colors, because you can see Lincoln's in the slight level 2 out of 5 risk, because storms are generally expected to weaken as they move eastward throughout the night. But depending on what color you're in, this is generally what we're expecting for each risk. When you're in the enhanced risk, areas of western and central Nebraska this evening, numerous severe storms are possible. They can be more persistent, a little bit more widespread, and a few of them can be intense. But within the yellow area that Lincoln is included, we're expecting scattered severe storms to be possible. These are usually short-lived, they're not as widespread, and some isolated intense storms can be possible. But breaking down each threat, this enhanced risk is largely driven by a damaging wind threat as the primary threat across western and central Nebraska. The black hash marks actually just introduced with this latest update. That means damaging winds could exceed 75 miles an hour, if not get a little higher. And you can see the red area with those black hash marks is the area of a little higher confidence, or 30% chance within 25 miles of a point. Then we get to the tornado risk. There is an isolated chance of tornadoes this evening over much of Nebraska, really, especially the Panhandle, Sandhills into northern and northeast Nebraska. This has been expanded to cover more of an area for this evening, and we'll kind of break down which storms I think may have some of this isolated tornado potential into this evening. But then large hail is also on the table, and especially in northern Nebraska where you see those black hash marks up this way. That's all an area that could see up to 2 inches, if not maybe a little bit bigger than that, hailstones in diameter possible with these storms, especially as they're initially getting going this evening. So, one of our latest versions of Stormcast this morning, we're advancing time and we're starting this Monday evening. So beyond about 4 or 5 o'clock, initial storms are getting going up here in north central Nebraska is what it looks like. And this is along the cold front situated through northern Nebraska. And you can see there's a few of them out by themselves. This would indicate to me that there may be an isolated tornado threat with these early on. Large hail also on the table. And then you'll see these kind of grow together. But let me step back. There was a time step, 7 p.m. right in there. Knox County, you see that one storm out by itself too. Potential for some isolated tornadoes with that and some very large hails. You're looking at those very deep reds and pinks and almost purples. And then you'll see other scattered storms coming out of western Nebraska. Maybe initially a little bit of a tornado threat with those as well. It's going to be the early life cycle of these storms that we're looking at isolated tornadoes before this all evolves into more of a damaging wind threat and maybe some hail still embedded in some of this. But that cluster of storms I was showing you up here in north central Nebraska comes together into more of a line, and this line starts to drop south through the night and then starts to combine and come together with these storms racing east in central Nebraska, swinging through tonight. So we're looking at a time frame toward the Tri-Cities around midnight, if not just a little bit later, and then toward Lincoln by about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So maybe one of those setups that it's waking us up, but I think these storms should be on a weakening trend as they get through southeast Nebraska tonight. Still could be some wind, still could be a little hail. And then these storms push out by about 5 a.m., and then still some lingering thunderstorms tomorrow morning. Out of our hair by about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And then this round will actually influence another round that we could face on Tuesday. In fact, Tuesday's risk for severe weather starts to look like this. Which this was, if you were with me last week, Tuesday looked like the day we were going to watch a little bit closer, but now it looks like Monday. And then once Monday clears, Tuesday's risk is largely to the south, especially this enhanced risk that you see for portions of Kansas for tomorrow. But Lincoln, Omaha, Columbus, Grand Island, back through the Sandhills, only within a marginal risk for Tuesday. Not expecting as much of the atmosphere to recover after Monday morning. So a lot of the severe threat's been pushed further south. But there are areas of western Nebraska and even southern Lancaster toward Beatrice and southeast Nebraska that are within the slight level 2 out of 5 risk for some scattered severe storms possible. And this would largely be another late night into the overnight time frame for more stronger storms in these areas. The tornado risk, as you can see, is only really across southeast Nebraska. Lincoln's on the edge of that, but the 5% risk is within Kansas. When we're talking about large hail, that'll be on the table, but probably marginally severe. And then you get toward the 2-inch plus possible hailstones in portions of western and central Kansas. Damaging winds there too, but we're talking a 5 to 15% chance with the higher probabilities in Kansas. So that's Tuesday's risk. Again, for Monday, I think a lot of things will be on the table, including isolated tornadoes early on. As I go through this one more time, maybe a little bit slower. Isolated tornadoes with some of those storms in north central and northeast Nebraska. There's 7 p.m. though. And you're looking at some of those storms starting to form more clusters, maybe 1 or 2 more out in front to the east, like you're seeing through Knox County right now. And then they form more of a line with more storms in western Nebraska racing to catch up and all coming together in central and eventually southeast Nebraska before swinging through tomorrow morning. So a night, again, that we could be woken up by this. I think the main severe threat is from western into central Nebraska tonight, with the damaging wind threat. There you see it once more. But isolated tornadoes and large hail, also a possibility in the early time frame of those storms getting going after about 4 or 5 o'clock this evening before they come through southeast Nebraska again overnight. So we'll be watching this closely. I may have to come in early tonight into tomorrow morning to kind of cover the back end of this. And if I do that, of course, we'll try to go live on YouTube and do some of that again. If not, maybe watch for Rusty, and he might track some of this live as it's getting going through the evening hours for Monday. So just stay tuned, have the notifications ready to go, subscribe, and we'll keep you up to date with the latest as we track the severe weather through Nebraska this evening and overnight.